Welcome to Long Live Baseball as Mike is scurrying around for the pen he dropped or something. My name is Seth Dewald. You can find me on Twitter at Seth_Dewald. My guest, as always, partner in crime, the man who is the Cubs fan on this show, Mike Jones. You can find him at Michael Jones IA on Twitter. Mike, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. I was scurrying for my most important coffee cup. That's what I was scurrying for. I've got kind of a thing going on here, kind of a temporary setup while I'm considering painting the walls a Wrigley Field green in the background. So yeah, coffee.
Good deal. That's a good thing to be scurrying around for. And
Absolutely.
speaking of scurrying around, I guess the Padres now are thankful that they traded for Juan Soto because they're going to be without their shortstop for the remainder of the season. He was dealing with a wrist injury, so they didn't have him, which could have been a reason that they traded for Juan Soto in the first place. Would have been a short-sighted reason, but one could argue there's no bad time to add the best player in baseball. And apparently it was all over a medication that he was using to treat his ringworm.
Really? Okay. I haven't seen it.
Clostebol.
About that.
Clostebol. Clostebol is the steroid that showed up in his report. And from the article I'm reading here, it looks like he's handling it pretty well. I mean, he's apologizing, taking ownership for it. He says, and I quote, "I have no excuse for my error, and I would never do anything to cheat or disrespect the game I love."
Well, there you go. I mean, does there have to be a little bit of leeway for the poppy seed? I mean, I went, we decided the other night we were going to grill out and we were going to do Chicago dogs. And so we go to the Hy-Vee, the local Hy-Vee. Maybe we weren't at Hy-Vee. I don't remember what the grocery store was. Regardless, we went to get some poppy seeds. My wife informed me that when we went to the spice rack, she went, "Look for the poppy seeds." And so I went up to the spice rack, and it's organized alphabetically. You've got whatever starts with A over here, and then oregano, and then poppy seed. And the poppy seed thing is empty. Written on the tag, it says poppy seeds are available in the customer service department. Did you know that? You can't get poppy seeds for your Chicago dog buns in the aisle. You've got to go to the customer service department to get the poppy seeds. Now, why is that? Because it's poppy seeds. It's an opioid.
Yeah.
You know what else you can't find? You can't find Chicago pickled relish. It's a different color. It's a bright green color in Chicago. You can't find that anywhere outside Chicago. It's kind of like Malort. But I digress. There should be a little, don't you have to treat your ringworm?
Yeah.
Maybe we're getting a little ridiculous about this stuff. Like, I don't know if this is factual or not. Somebody told me that if you eat spinach, it shows up on drug tests as well. Spinach. Popeye would have been banned for 80 games. I know the steroid era and the competitive advantage and all of that kind of stuff. What do you think about that? I mean, if in fact, owning it, he's already injured anyway, so he's probably sitting out games. Okay. Do you think, and then another question, do you think the Padres might have known something when they were in so hard on Soto?
I think that you have to punish cheating. I think it's hilarious in a sport that did such a terrible job punishing cheating a few years ago, cracks down so hard on certain things like, banned substances. Even in this case, it seems like it's an honest mistake, according to him. But if you fail the test, I'm sure that these players are taking these tests. I don't know how frequently they take them, but you would assume, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, are taking these tests and they're passing them. So there has to be some kind of repercussion for failing the test. Do I think 80 games is just an obscene punishment for what seems like an innocent mistake? Yes. However, I think it's the response. I think it was the MLB's response to the steroid era. Like you said, they had felt like they had to crack down really hard, and they did. And yeah, it's unfortunate to see because this was going to be one of the more exciting teams in baseball, especially they were going to get Tatis and Soto in the same lineup. I mean, that was going to be fun. That was going to be fun to watch. And now we're not going to see it until next year. And this is a huge hit to the Padres and their chance. I mean, they're still fighting for a playoff spot. So it's they're still likely going to make the playoffs, but I think it's unfortunate. However, I think you have to enforce the rules that you set, and if these are the rules that you set for this particular situation, then you have to enforce it. However, I think it might be wise to consider a tweak to these suspension rules, but I don't know.
Have you ever been prescribed steroids?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. I have for, I don't know, maybe bronchitis type stuff, that different things, infection. I think there's prescription based steroids for things, and they're not a whole lot of fun to take. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, I would hope. I shouldn't say obviously because it is the commissioner's office. But I would hope that they would do a deep dive into what is it that has been prescribed to this guy? What is it that is included in this? I mean, they've got the resources to have the medical doctors and the scientists to be able to inform their decisions about these things. Because here's the next question. Ryan Braun, Fernando Tatis Jr., I can't name. Let's get the list together. In the 2000s, who has been suspended for using steroids in baseball? Are they no longer eligible for the Hall of Fame? As many of those during the steroid era were, or are those? Well, it's different now. I mean, to me, does this make this young man ineligible for Hall of Fame consideration 20 years from now? I mean, he's banned. He's banned for the very same thing that other players were. There's a reason why. Slippery slope to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's banned. I mean, I think context matters, so I don't think he's banned.
Okay, so what's the context? With all due respect, Sammy Sosa was never. No one ever said Sammy Sosa. I mean, there was never proof, and he never admitted that he was on banned substances. Here you've got a guy who has been tested by Major League Baseball, who is on the same substances that Sammy Sosa never used, according to him. He was kept out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think
arguably.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's
one of the guys
right.
That saved baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the context there would be the perception that of the steroid era, right? And of all those guys surrounding Sammy Sosa. If he never admitted it, then I don't know. But I do remember that his bat, there's some cork issue too with Sammy Sosa. There's more than the steroid thing, but I think this is an honest mistake. It really seems like it is. But
let's talk about the father, one of the guys that the Cubs drafted, okay. Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, I mean, he admitted that he took steroids though. So
Is he going to get into the Hall of Fame?
Likely not. I mean, even though I think there's a strong case for him to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's probably not going to be in. He's probably not going to make it, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I just think those are interesting conversations. That's all. Hey, probably more importantly though, what does Chad think? Is Chad around?
Oh, Chad's all these Chad's not around. But yeah, it's if you wonder what Mike's talking about, I have another channel. It's my fantasy football channel where I've done a couple silly videos about don't be that guy in your fantasy league, and Chad is one of those guys who shows up to the fantasy football draft bragging about everything but knowing nothing about what's going on in the fantasy football draft. So don't be that guy.
I really would like to see Chad make an appearance on Long Live Baseball just to get his opinion on a few things. I mean, if nothing else, because Chad, I mean, I don't know.
I'm workshopping some other characters that I want to throw in during the season, like, just the guys who can have a service level conversation with you. Like, he would probably say, like, oh yeah, like whoever adds Juan Soto is gonna win the World Series. Like, obviously,
hey, wait,
something like that.
When you say workshopping, are you getting together with other actors and like role playing these characters, or what exactly does that mean? You're workshopping more characters for your show.
Basically, I'm probably insane because I acted out in the mirror, and then I tell Abby that usually it's Abby I tell the idea to. It's like, do you think this is funny, or am I an idiot? Because I think it's funny. Because my sense of humor is very, very, I guess, if you've ever seen the show The Office, I think that show is probably one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. So it's very stupid and dry, my sense of humor. So I have to be careful with some of this. So I always usually run it through Abby, the filter for my ideas. But yeah, workshopping means me acting it out in the mirror and then me laughing at myself, and then and then I'm like, oh, this could be really funny. Like Chad was these ideas for these characters come from actual things that have happened in fantasy football. I exaggerate a little bit, but really I'm not exaggerating that much. I mean, it's the guys, I mean, it's total, bro. Like, if you've ever been in a 12-person all guys fantasy football league, these guys turn into a different person when they walk into that room. It's like, hey, man, like, no wives, no kids, beer is flowing like wine. It is quite the sight to behold. But
does wine flow? Does wine flow more freely than beer? I
think that's a quote from Dumb and Dumber, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
We're gonna go to a place. Yeah. Go ahead.
You're able to do this, like you pull these lines out of the back of your head. You're a young whippersnapper. I don't remember these lines like you do. I've been working 30 years on trying to memorize the quote from Jake and Elwood Blues when they get into the car after he gets out of prison. I got 37 cents in my pocket. I can't remember that. You'd pull that right out. If you watch the Blues Brothers one time, you'd probably pull that quote right out of your hat.
The best scene in the Blues Brothers is when they're in the room with the nun and they can't stop cussing. They're like, oh, and then every time they cuss, she slaps them on the wrist with and then of course the backflips in the aisle. That is a treasure of a movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Hey, guess what? Guess what's happening next weekend at the old? Can I digress from baseball, from Long Live Baseball? I mean, what the heck? We've gone this far, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, why not?
So years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I take my family, my wife, maybe even might have been my future wife at that point. I think it was my wife. We go to a family reunion in Joliet. My dad's from around there. And we go there, and I'm like, "Hun, we've got to go get a picture taken where the Blues Brothers, where he came out of the prison. There's a big old gate. I know where the prison is. We got to go do it. We're going to take a picture." I go there with my dad, my stepmother, and I give him a camera, and I hand him the camera, and we go down and we walk down this sidewalk. If you've never been there, there's a road that goes right between the old Joliet prison and the other side of the prison, which, it's a bigger complex, but you actually kind of drive through it. There's a road that goes through there. So we walk down this road, and just as we're standing, posing, getting ready to take our picture at the door that he walks out of, when, the light shines and all that stuff, all of a sudden lights start lighting up on the towers, garage doors start going up, a car comes out, these guards come up to us, they confiscate our camera. You can't take pictures of a federal prison, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, we don't think, we're not sure we're getting our camera back. They took the film out of the camera. We're not sure we're going to we're trying to explain, the Blues brought, and they're like, "Yeah, we know, we know you're here for that, but you can't take pictures here." Next weekend, the Joliet prison was closed down, and next weekend they're having a Blues Brothers event at the prison. You can go to the prison, and in the prison yard, they're going to show the movie. Dan Aykroyd and Jim, one of the Belushi brothers, is going to be there, and they're actually going to perform on stage, put on a concert. It's a big, Comic-Con type Blues Brothers event that they're hoping to make an annual event. So there you go. You talk about digression. There's digression, but it is related to baseball because of a very specific address in the movie.
Yeah, and now we can transition us into baseball. And I just want to throw one stat because he pitched last night. And I don't know how Mozeliak does it, but here's a tweet from Sammy Stava on Twitter. It says, Jose Quintana and Jordan Montgomery have a combined 1.17 ERA in their first 4 starts with the Cardinals. And that comes off of Jordan Montgomery absolutely dominating the Milwaukee Brewers last night at Busch. But you can't. This is what I want to talk about, is how do the Cardinals sweep the Yankees, then go to Colorado and lose 2 out of 3, and then come back and beat Milwaukee in the first game in a really close, really good baseball game. What? I don't understand. I don't understand that, Mike. I don't understand this team. I want to believe they're good, and I think they're good. I think now with the pitching depth that they have, that they sorely needed, I think they can make a run in the playoffs. But it's concerning to me a little bit that, Michaelis got shelled and Wainwright is looking human at times on the road. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this team.
Well, listen, I mean, here's how you feel about your team, Seth. I'm just going to tell you. You feel about your team, and I'm sure we're going to transition into this, but you feel about your team this year like I felt about my team on the other night at Field of Dreams. I mean, that's how you should feel about your team right now. They're in first place in the National League Central Division. They're going to make the playoffs. You know what their schedule is going home. Hopefully, the only thing I'd be worried about if I were you as a Cardinals fan is your schedule going home. Because for whatever reason, you can't beat the bad teams. You go to Colorado, I could not believe the scores. Play and beat the streak. Once again, I pick a Cardinal. Paul Goldschmidt, and Goldie goes 0 for 4 in the first game, or 0 for 5. I mean, it just insane. I don't know what it is with the Cardinals. It's kind of like what I feel like we experience with the Cubs is we go out and we beat the Cardinals, we beat the Brewers, We beat these teams, and then we play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh owns us this season, owns us, and so and maybe it's just part of the nature. Maybe it's just baseball, right? I mean, maybe it's just baseball. But when I looked up the score of that Colorado St. Louis game the other night, and it was 13-0. I mean, I think at one point it was like something outrageous like that. I was like, what in the world is going on? That was Michaelis, wasn't it?
That was Michaelis. Yeah, so that's obviously concerning because he's our all-star pitcher,
Is he your ace?
I would still say Wainwright's our ace, although you can make a strong case for Montgomery now.
Yeah. Now you're going to go.
Go ahead.
You're going to go see Waino today, right? In St. Louis?
I am. I'll be there. We have to. I have to probably jet out of here a little early today, just because I have to beat my mom and my my family's meet me at the Airbnb, and it would be a real drag if they got to the Airbnb before I do, and they leave at like 3 a.m. So I don't. Yeah. You know how it goes. They have their routine, they have their schedule, and they want to be at a certain place by a certain time. And so anyway, I have to beat them to the Airbnb. But yeah, we were talking about like that first game, and we haven't really seen a Michaelis game like this. I mean, he only went 2 2/3 innings and gave up 10 runs on 14 hits in Colorado, and the Cardinals in those 3 games gave up an average of 9.5 runs per game. And I know it's Colorado, but that's horrible for Colorado. And the Cardinals were able to put up 5 and then 9 and then 6 runs. But when you're giving up 9 a game, I mean, that's you can't really come back from that, and
right.
And what I can say about the Cardinals is, I mean, Goldschmidt continues to have an MVP caliber season. It's unbelievable what he's doing. He's consistently hitting. I mean, I feel like I've looked at his stats and he's hitting 330 like every time I look at his stats. Like I looked at it last month, 330, the month before, 330.
Yeah.
And to me, he's the MVP right now. But we'll see. We'll see if he can keep it up. I have a good feeling that he can. Although Nolan Arenado's entered the MVP chat as well, and he's hitting over 300 right now. And with those 2 guys in the lineup, you always feel good. But I'm still waiting, Mike. I'm still waiting for somebody to emerge, like a Dylan Carlson, maybe a Tyler O'Neill, maybe Yachty gets hot. I feel like we're going to need a third bat to get hot. Maybe it's Nolan Gorman. I like players like Tommy Edman and Brendan Donovan. There's some good pieces there. I feel like this is the best talent, probably the best talent, most talented Cardinals team we've had in a while, especially if we can get Flaherty back to serve in some capacity. I feel like the Cardinals feel like that's the missing piece. I really do. And for better or for worse, and different Cardinals fans feel differently about Flaherty. But if he can come back and be a serviceable starter, I mean, that makes their rotation, assuming he's healthy and can get back to form, Flaherty, Wainwright, Michaelis, Montgomery, Quintana, and you can push probably Hudson to the bullpen or have him be a 6th starter. And that, to me, you can make a run like with those guys. I mean, anything can happen in baseball. So, but we've talked enough about the Cardinals. What's been going on in Cubs land? Because I honestly haven't been paying attention.
Well, obviously, I mean, the Cubs were at the Field of Dreams game. I ended up moving some tickets on that game, and really wish that I might have gone myself, because after seeing pictures of guys that got to go up to Dyersville, and Kerry Wood, Carlos Zambrano, Ben Zobrist, Fergie Jenkins, I mean, all these guys were up at the game, and Scary Harry was there too, which that was a whole nother thing. I don't know. But the Cubs, they won a great game against Cincinnati up in Dyersville. Why I say it was a great game, there was not a single home run in that game, and yet 3.1 million viewers on Fox tuned into the Cubs Reds game from Dyersville. It's the most watched regular season baseball game on any network this season. Fox's best Thursday night performance in 2022. It actually peaked with 3.4 million views around 8:15. So, and is the most streamed regular season game of the year. So, that they're doing something right in Dyersville. Unfortunately, I think they're going to kind of lose momentum next year with that, because there won't be a Field of Great Dreams game next year. But Nico freaking Horner was getting base hits again, extending my streak. Unlike Paul Goldschmidt, who, by the way, 33% of, if you're not playing the game, beat the streak. I feel like I do an ad for Major League Baseball every week on our podcast. If you're not playing it, it's a lot of fun. You get to pick your batter, try to beat Joe DiMaggio's streak. The highest, I think, this year was 45. A third of all beat the streakers, or streakers, as they like to call them, a third went down when Goldschmidt went 0 for 4 in Colorado, because a third of the pickers had him getting a hit, which speaks to his MVP caliber, right? I mean, that guy's just crazy hitting the ball. It was great. Justin Steele shoved at the Field of Dreams game, had another quality start. It was fun to see Rowan Wick come in and actually close the thing, doing what we think he's capable of doing, or we hope he's capable of doing, because I think he's kind of stepping into that closer role. Not that we won't be getting another closer, in the upcoming season or anything like that, but it was just good baseball. Now, of course, the most horrifying moment of that game, and the Cubs were off yesterday, they're in Cincinnati today. The most horrifying part of that game was when Wilson Contreras rounded second base, and it looked like he broke his leg or his ankle, and then stayed in the game. You talk about Willie the Beast, tough as nails. Now, and I'm glad that he had the day off yesterday. Hopefully they really worked that ankle. You'll see him DH, and I don't think you'll see him catching tonight's game, or probably any game in the next week. But he wanted to finish that Field of Dreams game, so that was fun. But probably in Cubs land, the big story is the prospects. You've got guys. It seems like every day I'm seeing things on Twitter and Cubs. Pete Crow Armstrong making another fantastic catch in the outfield. Miguel Amaya, having 3 hits and driving in 6 RBIs, and the big news is the Pelicans are in first place in the second half. The South Bend Cubs are winning the second half. So you're seeing really positive things with a lot of the guys who hopefully are going to be coming up. And you've also got Tom Ricketts, who's publicly stating we're going to be really aggressive during the offseason and free agency, because the product that we're putting on the field right now is not what Cubs fans should expect, nor the product that we want to give them. And so that's big talk from the executives. I mean, a lot of it was just squishy too. No dollar figures or anything like that. We're going to be aggressive. Okay, what's that mean?
Yeah.
So
I have an idea. I have an idea I want to run by you, but go ahead and finish your point.
So I think really there's some positive stuff that we're looking toward the future for. And then we've got some guys that are up there that are gonna help us out. I mean, Nicky Two Strikes Madrigal is all of a sudden hitting the ball really well, making a lot of contact, collecting a lot of bases. Nico Horner, who I mentioned, Christopher Morel, is probably, they pinch hit or Rafael Ortega for Christopher Morel the other night, and Cubs fandom just went bonkers. Like, what are they doing, kind of thing. So I think that there's a lot to look forward to if you're a Cubs fan. We know that it's not happening right now. The pitching that the Cubs drafted and that kind of thing and traded for, they're coming along as well. So it's exciting to see that aspect of things.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Field of Dreams game because I feel the fact that there's not going to be a Field of Dreams game next year is utterly ridiculous. Why wouldn't this be? I mean, you're literally taking your most successful event, live event, game, regular season game. I mean, but let's be honest, between two teams that aren't playoff teams, last year was the White Sox and the Yankees, and you're telling me that you can't recreate this every year in Iowa by tapping into this, what baseball has to offer people. Baseball has to offer people nostalgia and that feeling of playing catch with your dad in Little League. And it's a rite of passage. It's, purely American. When you think of America, I think of baseball, apple pie, and the 4th of July, right? These are instant snap, whatever that thing is where they say, like, give me a word when what's the first thing you think of when you hear America or whatever that is?
Yeah, the whole word association game.
Yeah, there you go. And it's utterly baffling to me where I get it. Baseball is a regional sport, but it's baffling to me that, you can't keep this a tradition going. And maybe they have plans to announce a game that we don't know about, but I just don't understand one of your most successful thing. I mean, why you wouldn't try to do that every year? It doesn't make much sense to me.
I mean, here's the reasoning for it, and it's because Major League Baseball does not own the Dyersville complex. Dyersville, if you go up there and you visit and you should if you haven't, if you go up there and visit, you can see the blueprint of the facility that they have a dream of building. And it's a Little League facility where you can come in and play Little League tournaments at the Field of Dreams site, 4 diamonds, home plates back to back to each other, huge facility. Construction starting this next year on that facility. The facility that they built for the Field of Dreams game is a temporary facility. My understanding is that it's probably torn down now. The facility that you saw the other night is all temporary, and it's torn down just as fast as it goes up for the Field of Dreams games. Is my understanding of it. Now, that may be a little bit inaccurate, but the reason is because of the construction process that's going to begin. That's why they're not. Frank Thomas is one of the owners or one of the partners in that organization, the Field of Dreams, whatever, LLD or whatever it is. So that's why. But I agree with you. I mean, here's the bottom line. A couple things. First of all, you've got Rob Manfred at the Field of Dream games. Some guy actually asked him for his autograph. I mean, I think that was set up, but he's at the game. You look at the players that were at the game, the nostalgia, the viewership on Fox. Now, part of the thing with the Fox viewership is that irony of the fact that I could sit in my living room and watch the Field of Dreams game on my television in the state of Iowa when we are blacked out from 4 major league golf clubs the rest of the season. That should speak volumes about the blackout policies that they have going on. If viewership is important, and you want to build the game, then doggone it, promote the game. And at some level, they're not doing that. Field of Dreams does it. Absolutely. That's a huge game. That's why viewership is up. but I can't watch the Cubs. I can't watch the Twins. I can't watch the Royals. I can't watch the Cardinals. I can't watch in Iowa because we're blacked out in all of those markets. How many games do I go to those 4 teams during the course of the year? I go to Wrigley Field. I may make it to St. Louis one time.
Yeah.
So Rob, how are you building the game with these blackout restrictions? Blackout in the city. I mean, if St. Louis is playing in St. Louis that day, don't let anything, and maybe technology doesn't allow that. I don't know, but they've got some things to figure out. I'm with you. I mean, I hope they come up with some other big plan. Now, I will say this, that next summer, the Cardinals and the Cubs are going to be playing in London in June. It was something that was supposed to happen in 2020, the pandemic. And so now they've rescheduled that for the June 22nd, 24th, something like that. They're going to be playing a couple games over there in London. So maybe that's why, because I don't think there was any out-of-country game this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be part of the reason why that game's been scheduled there as well.
Yeah, it's the whole blackout thing is, that it's something that the NFL doesn't have a problem with because they just go through one network. I think it's, it's the NFL Sunday Ticket. Like if you get that, you can watch any game you want to. But for some reason, Major League Baseball can't figure that out. Where it's like literally, if you're watching the NFL, you could be living in Miami, and you can, if you're a big Jets fan, you can order this package and you can literally watch any game you want to. I don't know why it's not that simple with Major League Baseball. I would assume it's because there's a lot of local broadcasts and contracts and people that have paid for those contracts. I don't know. Maybe they have a deal with Fox where Fox doesn't get a cut of the MLB TV. I don't know but there's really no point to buy MLB TV if you can't watch the Cubs game. Like in your situation, like if you're living in a blacked out area, why would I buy MLB TV? You would think that's a direct deterrent to what they're trying to do. And I guess they're trying to funnel you into buying the marquee network or whatever network the Cubs are on. But why wouldn't you just then give the marquee network a cut of the MLB TV proceeds and then everybody wins? Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a contract negotiator, but we've got to find a way because it's been too silly for too long and it just deters people from watching baseball. And if I were Rob Manfred, honestly, it would be one of my number one priorities is to figure out how do we fix these blackout restrictions that people have, because anything that deters people away from watching baseball is bad for baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And here's the other piece to that, Seth, is that you say, okay, get the marquee network. Listen, if I could find the marquee network in my area, I'd probably buy it. Where is it? Mediacom, I mean, they have a hard time getting these people to pick up that network. So, the streaming networks, all of that kind of stuff, it's not on YouTube TV. It's not on Hulu. It's not on this. It's not on that. It's not on the other thing. It's not on our local cable company. So how in the world do I get it? You almost have to cheat in order to be able to watch. And I'm telling you, there are people who are cheating to watch the games on their TVs.
Yep. And again, it's just a problem that needs to be solved. I think it's solvable. But for some reason, they just can never figure it out.
Just one more thing on that. Sorry, because you made me think of this. It is solvable because they're doing it with MLB at bat. I can listen to audio of any game in the country anywhere and not be restricted. So why can't I do that on television? The best part about the Field of Dreams game was listening to Pat and Ron talk, and Zach Zaidman and Ryan Porth and the whole crew from The Score, listening to their broadcast of the game while the game was on my television. You can do that with MLB Network, Two, you can listen to the radio call in real time with the television broadcast. So don't tell me that they can't do it. That's just not, they're choosing not to do it. It's not about whether they can or they can't. It is a choice, and Rob Manfred needs to get it figured out. I put it all on his shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, he is the commissioner. I mean, for the game, it's, other leagues can figure it out. I don't understand why the MLB can't figure it out, but I have an idea to run by you. This might make for some bad television or bad radio, but I had this idea of, when you talked about Chad, one of my characters, on my YouTube channel. And I was like, I think I could do similar videos on this channel, like John Mozeliak at the trade deadline, like a short little video. It's like, hey, John, do you want to trade for Juan Soto? Oh, yeah. Like, how much is it going to be? Oh, it's going to cost you like 3 of your top prospects. Ooh, do you think we could get them for maybe like a club sandwich and, this guy over here? It's like, I don't think they're going to go for that, John, especially considering the Padres are offering them a pretty handsome package of prospects. It's like, why don't you submit the offer anyway? What'd they say? No. Oh, well, maybe we'll throw in Malcolm Nunez, our 22nd ranked prospect. We're going to be involved in these discussions. It's like, yeah, they're not. It's like, what color, and then, you could throw in like the deal that they got for Nolan Arenado too. Like, it's like, what, they accepted that? Awesome. Yeah. All right. We'll take Arenado for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And they're giving us money. Okay. Yeah. All right.
I am 100% behind you doing those types of things on this channel.
Listen, Chad, the reason I bring up Chad is because I really want to see Chad make an appearance on the show. The commish could even make it. We could ask the commish questions about baseball, even though he knows nothing about baseball. Probably he's so involved in his draft.
He's too busy dealing with the Chads of the world.
Well, listen, and Chad, I mean, what I like about Chad is that Chad's so real. I mean, the reality was he thought it was a swimsuit edition. That was the best line in the entire episode. But yes, 100%, we need guys like that doing the baseball part of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, yeah, I could probably drum something together. I genuinely do like making those videos. So there'll be more to come on this channel and on that channel. So
the only challenge that I see with that proposal is that means that I might have to come up with some characters myself, because we can't have this channel be one-sided towards Cardinaldom. And
I could even yeah, go
Cardinal
ahead.
dumb is spelled D-U-M-B, by the way, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I could even have some Cubs and Cardinals fans going back and forth, but then that would mean I would likely have to wear Cubs apparel, which I don't want to do.
So, yeah, you'll never see me with the St. Louis hat on.
Maybe if I wore like a blue shirt and then my Cardinals stuff, not like Cubs stuff, that could work.
I don't think it's going to work.
But I do have to go here soon. But I do want to talk about these games that are coming up. There's a pretty big game tonight in Busch Stadium. I don't know if you know, the Cardinals are in first place by a game and a half, and they're taking on the Brew Crew tonight, who are in second place. Corbin Burns against Adam Wainwright. Busch Stadium.
You stay away. You stay away. I stay away.
Yeah. Does it get much better?
Tonight.
Does it get much better than this matchup here?
It's got to be a pitcher's duel, right? I mean, if there are more than 5 hits on either side of the, whoever has more than 5 hits will win the game tonight. That's my only prediction, and I'm not taking anybody in my streak from Milwaukee or St. Louis tonight. Just not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Yeah, runs are going to be at a premium. It would assume the total for the game is 7. That's pretty low. So that should be a great game. I'm looking forward to taking that in tonight with a beer and a dog, just like Field of Dreams would tell me to do. That famous scenes like, what do you want? I want to be left alone. I want people to understand that. No, what do you want? Oh, beer and a dog.
Oh, beer and a dog.
Cubs are on the road in Cincinnati tonight, 5:40 First pitch, Sampson versus Ashcraft. Is that his name?
Who?
Ashcraft.
Hey,
Ashcraft.
hopefully Sampson.
Graham Ashcraft. What a name.
Hopefully Sampson shoves. Yeah, and Great American Small Park will be. My prediction is it'll be very good to Hap. Hap is going to have a great weekend at Great American Small Park.
Okay, and that's the report where our teams are at. Prediction for tonight. I would assume that the Brewers get even tonight, as much as I don't want them to. I could just see this series going to a third game. I just feel like that's how these series go. And Wainwright's coming off, I believe, I'd have to double check this, one of the not so great outings of Adam Wainwright, although he is better at home. So that is good. And of course, the way the Cardinals play, they'll probably prove me wrong and sweep the Brewers and then lose 2 out of 3 to the next team they play, which is stalling for time, Colorado Rockies again at home.
Home.
The nemesis of the St. Louis Cardinals is Colorado Rockies.
They better win some. Here's my prediction tonight. Waino's going to shove all 7 of the runs that they're predicting will be scored by the Cardinals, and Waino gets a shutout.
Well, I hope you're right, but so that's where we're at. And like you said, the Cardinals are in a great spot down the stretch here to wrap up this Central Division. I mean, if they take 2 out of 3 or sweep Milwaukee, I mean, they really could put some distance between themselves and the Brewers and get all the momentum. And with the way these 2 guys they acquired, with the way Montgomery and Quintana are pitching, I mean, it really is going to be hard for the Brewers to catch up, especially with the way the Cardinals schedule is. But that's about it for me. Is there a baseball word dictionary word today segment?
There is just a short one. So we were in the A's last night. And what I've decided we're going to do is through the show, we're just going to move through the alphabet, and we'll see how many times we can get through the alphabet.
Okay.
But so we're in the B's today, and this is a little bit of advice for pitchers. Babe Ruth is dead. Have you ever heard that advice for pitchers?
Mm-mm.
Right here in the baseball dictionary. This is advice given to a pitcher who is nibbling the corners and getting behind every hitter. So that guy that's nibbling the corners and he's not getting the calls, Kyle Hendricks, or when you got somebody terrible behind the plate, and we all know who we're talking about there. Babe Ruth is dead. The full thought here is to remind the pitcher of the irrefutable historical fact: Babe Ruth is dead. Throw some strikes, right? You don't have to nibble around the corners. If you're nibbling around the corners, you're not going to get those calls from Angel. There, I said it out loud. And therefore, you're going to walk a lot of guys. I think that's what's going to happen to Corbin Burns tonight. I think the Cardinals are going to score 7 runs off of 3 hits.
Wow, that is a bold prediction.
All right.
So that is our we'll have to come up with a jingle or something for the baseball word, even if it's me going, "It's the baseball word of the day," or something like that.
I think you just did it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
there it
that's
is.
it.
It's the jingle.
There it is.
So we'll have to, I might record it and then play it. I think that's possible on StreamYard. So anyway, enough of seeing how the sausage is made, but that is all for the show today. I have to run to St. Louis. Literally, I have to run all the way there, like Forrest Gump. So
how long is your haul to St. Louis, by the way?
I think 4.5 hours, something like that.
I
think it's 4 hours. Yeah, you drive clear across the state,
Yeah,
so
the train might get there faster.
It probably would. So leave us a comment in the show comments. Ask us anything you want to. That's appropriate. I mean, Chad's not going to answer your questions. I can tell you that right now, because he does not care. Once again, you can follow the show. It's going to be in the show description. It's Long Live Baseball, LNG, LIVE. baseball with 2 L's at the end, but it's going to be easiest if you just click that link in the description of this particular live stream. My name is Seth. You can follow me on Twitter, Seth_Dewald. Mike, you can follow him on Twitter at Michael Jones IA. And that is all.
All right,
Any
listen.
final words? Yeah, final words of wisdom.
Next time we have a show, I want a little scrolling thing going across the bottom with our with some stuff on it. You work the magic on this technology that you've got going on. Can't wait to see the Chad show up for the show sometime. I'm looking forward to that. And hey, let's go Cubs.
All right, let's go Cardinals. Let's score 12, 13, 1,400 runs against Corbin Burns tonight. Let's do it. Let's get 2 out of 3, and then the third. Let's just sweep them. Let's just not even mess around, and let's just get the job done tonight. Let's go Cardinals.
By the way, Tennessee Smokies are tearing it up too. So there we go.
Okay, good.
My final word.
I'm glad your minor league team's doing well. All right, we will see you guys next time.
All of them.
Yeah. See ya.